We're in the studios with Matthew Bates with Movement Mortgage, and I don't know why I'm calling you Matthew. I always call you Matt.
Whatever. I go by both.
Matt's such a great guy, Matt. And Matt is talking about rates and buying power and how they affect when you're buying or when you're selling. These rates are going to affect everybody.
Well, first
So
off,
go ahead, man.
First off, Merry Christmas to
thank
you
Merry
and
Christmas
all
to
of
you
our
too.
listeners.
Thank you.
I hope everybody's having a great day. So yeah, interest rates are doing what we talked about almost all year.
Yeah.
You know, everybody was talking about they're going to go up. They're going to go up. How far they're going to go up? Well, they're doing that right now. Go to the website, any of the money websites, and look at the 10-year bond. You can drop in. You can look at a 10-year. I think it's a 5-year forecast, previous forecast,
Yep.
and then you can see a 1 year. You can see 3 months. You
For
can
the
see
bonds?
6 months for the bonds.
Okay.
And you can see them go up and down and where they've been and kind of look and see what the roller coaster ride looks like for rates. And you'll see within the last year they've gone up from the middle of the year. They were in the low 3s, 3.5. Now they're in the low 4s, 4.5.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen 4.75 for some people, and of course the interest rate has a lot to do with your credit report and what your credit score is. So when they were real low, when they were at the 3s and the 3.5, and they kind of were hanging around there, it was important to shop and figure out what the lowest interest rate was and get the best deal and whatnot. But now, because rates are so changing and they're so all
Definitely
over the place,
volatile.
that part of it is you need to be in touch with a lender that has built in certain cushions to protect you from being able to qualify no matter what the rates do, and being in control and being speedy and fast with when you make a decision on a house, you can get it done. So the rate's not going to affect your buying power, because some people, when they want to go buy a house, they go to their max. If you're qualified for a $250,000 house and at 4.5%, and all of a sudden you're at 4.75, that payment went up, and you might not qualify for that payment anymore. So if you're dealing with a lender that is just trying to get you the lowest rate, and they don't have the resources or the communication, or the company's not speedy with the way that they get mortgages done, then you could be facing a long-term mortgage process, and that really affects your buying power.
We've seen it.
So
already.
And in this case, you need. Fortunately enough for me, I work for a company called Movement Mortgage, and we really, really focus on being the best in the business as far as purchase money is concerned. So we prepare and we educate the buyer. We look and show you what the payment's going to be, what can change, how the rates are changing, how it affects your payment. I know if the rate changes a 0.5%, that's about $75, depending on how much money you're borrowing, in your payment, and that's a big chunk. It's a big chunk. So
absolutely,
it's important for a lender to build in that chance for the rates to go up and change your payment, and that's what I try to do. So, but for buyers buying now, I would not focus on looking for the cheapest rate. I would focus on somebody that can get the job done fast. So while you're buying, you can get it in and done and taken care of, and be on to your next home.
So by doing pretty much what you just laid out, I think is pretty smart too, because it there's a direct correlation there with the purchase and sales agreement. On the purchase and sales agreement, I believe it's section 7 of the section 7.
It's the mortgage
contingency section. Yeah. It says, what rate to keep them at. Now, your agent should actually put prevailing on there, okay? Because the rates are changing
all the
much.
time, right?
The rates are changing, and if they lock you in there, if they put like 4.25 and then your rate goes to 4.35,
and you don't qualify for the house anymore, you're out of contract.
Boom, you're out of contract. So that's crazy. So there's definitely a lot that goes in with that, and Matt, I think you're right. By linking up with a company like Movement that can close a transaction in 14 days or less. I've seen even less with you guys. And that's fast.
Yeah,
so fast.
We just had one that was done in 8 days.
8 days.
That's crazy.
And with all the new guidelines and stuff that they released over the past year and two, that's extremely fast. I mean, a normal time that it takes to close is about 30 to 45 days, and 30 is fast.
30's fast, yeah. I like doing them in 30.
Yeah. But with that said, obviously, as rates are escalating up, you want to work with somebody that can close you during the best rate that they can get you at the time.
Well, one of my mentors, someone that I still look up to and ask a lot of questions to help teach me day in and day out. But one of his things that he taught me was price only matters when there's an absence of value. So if I can present a better value, then the customer is willing to pay whatever it is to get that job done.
Yeah.
So if the value at this point, I mean, price when rates are real low, then and everybody has the opportunity to, shop around and get the lowest rate. But then sometimes you pick that lowest rate, you're dealing with the mortgage process for a very long time.
Oh yeah.
So
balls
if it's
are dropped.
right,
Yeah.
and in this situation with the market being, you put an offer in, it's going fast. You better be prepared to buy that house, and you better be able to be prepared to buy it in a fast, speedy way. Now the value add is not so much the interest rate, although it is important, and you definitely want to get a low rate because it affects how much interest rate you pay. But you also want to get into a house in a reasonable time. And a month ago, people just wanted to be in their house for Christmas. But all right, so if you want the low rate, go buy a house after New Year's. Because that's how long it's going to take. Or let's get a fair rate and then get this job done fast.
Yeah.
And then when rates go down low again, I mean, because they will. I mean, it's tradition. They will drop, and you'll have an opportunity to refinance and get the rate down.
You think we'll see rates back in the 3s?
It created a lot of real estate business when they did. People made a lot of moves.
Ton of real estate business, but I feel like the economy was, is false, almost a false economy, and the rates were, subsidized for so long.
Well, even at
there was no incentive to save money.
Even at the 4.5%, 5%, that's some of the cheapest money that you can still borrow these days.
So cheap.
I mean, you're looking at other ways to borrow money. Car loans is probably the lowest, but they're right around. They've increased too. But you look at credit cards, line of credits, all of that. They're
21%.
all 14%. I mean, that's what it costs to borrow money. And it's what it costs these banks to lend out the money and maintain it and service it. And all. I mean, maybe not 14%, but
I've seen it. Yeah, I've definitely seen it. And in the 80s, I don't remember this, but I know that a lot of my clients have spoke about this, industry leaders and whatnot. In the 80s, the rates were 14%. So the average, and I've said it before, the average rate when you take 40 years and averaged out was around 9%.
Right.
That's that. So anything under 9% is below average, over that time period, and that's considered a great, pretty good, right?
Now, a lot of people that I talk to that are in touch with all the different parts of the economy and all the different tax implications and all the different things that happen in their lives, because some people when they're buying a house, all they focus on is the interest rate.
Yeah.
I want the lowest rate, but there's a lot more to it than that. And a lot of people that are shopping that really understand it, you can write off mortgage interest. So people look at that as a huge write-off. I mean, people need write-offs at the end of the year, especially if you're making really, really good money. Which is the goal. I hope that's everybody's goal. I know it's my goal. So, but the write-offs at the end of the year help make that more comfortable making that type of money. So the higher the interest rate, the higher more write-offs you have. I mean, we don't want to get them too high, but we also want to focus on having a very smooth transaction and getting it done fast and timely and being in control of the situation.